Iron Maiden are back on the road doing what they do absolutely best, tearing the crowds apart with their insane live shows.
Is the beginning of the Run for Your Lives tour.
Yet this time around they do it quite differently. So today let's take a look at the Run for Your Lives kickoff show in Budapest, discuss some strange things about its production and its setlist, and then answer the question whether Run for Your Lives tour was even worth all that hype. Here you go. Real quick, being a responsible YouTuber and an Iron Maiden fan I just want to point out that this video will include some spoilers for Run for Your Lives tour, which I think is pretty obvious already, but just be aware of it. And as always, please do not hesitate to comment on anything you hear or see in this video, and especially if you disagree with me, because the whole point of our Up the Iron series is of course to start a conversation. But alright, let's do it. First and foremost, let's discuss the elephant in the room, the question which so many Iron Maiden fans were wondering about before this tour kicked off, and more specifically, Iron Maiden's new live drummer, Simon Dawson. Now, first of all, I just have to point out that I can't even imagine how nervous Simon Dawson might have been when entering the stage together with the boys this time. And I think it was actually pretty visible on Murders in Room Work, the first song Iron Maiden truly plays live on this tour after the Ides of March, of which we'll talk in a moment. And him being nervous is of course pretty understandable, because the shoes he's got to fill are some of the biggest ones in the world of metal. I'd even argue that no one alive today could actually satisfy Iron Maiden fans to the fullest, as pretty much everyone on the globe, including myself of course, cannot really associate Iron Maiden with anybody else except for Nick McBrain behind that drum kit, no matter how good of a drummer you actually are. But at the same time, as the show progressed, and as Simon became more and more comfortable behind that kit, playing in front of thousands of crazy heavy metal fans, he was able to show exactly why Steve Harris has chosen him. As in terms of his technicality, overall proficiency and skills, I don't really think that any Iron Maiden fans have anything to complain about. At the same time, I actually have to disagree with Bruce Dickinson and what he said about Simon Dawson before that, as I actually don't think that he can be compared to Clive Burr in terms of the feel. Even more, I can't really compare him to neither Clive nor Nico at all. And don't get me wrong, this is in no way an insult, quite the opposite. I actually think that this is a very, very good thing, as the last thing you want to do is compare the band's new drummer, a band who has been on the road for 50 years at this point, to the legendary names who shaped this band's sound in the past. And in all honesty, this difference is actually pretty audible and visible. As yes, first of all, sound-wise, there is quite a lot of getting used to, we will all have to do in the next couple of months, but at the same time, the visual representation of Simon Dawson as a drummer is also quite different to that of Nick McBrain, starting with the drum kit itself and ending with the interaction the two drummers have with the crowd and with their band members, which although can change quite a lot on the band's future concerts. At this point, we should all just greet Simon with his debut with Iron Maiden, as once again, the shoes he's got to fill cannot really be filled by anyone in the world. Yet nevertheless, we Iron Maiden fans are of course happy to welcome a new member into the family, especially the one who really knows how to do his fills. Setlist-wise, Run for Your Lives tour is pretty much exactly what the band promised it would be. A collection of the best and the most popular songs from the band's early days. Iron Maiden kicked off the show in Budapest with the legendary Ides of March, the song which so many Iron Maiden fans have been begging the band to play live for so many years. After that, going into the no less legendary Murders in Room Work, the song which, although has been performed over 280 times before that, was actually last played live by the band all the way back in 2005, which, are you sitting here, was 20 years ago. But yeah, going back to the Ides of March, although it did sound from the stage, it was actually not performed live by the band, just like it has never been performed live after the several times they did it in the early days of Iron Maiden. And yes, it did serve pretty much exactly the same purpose as the Blade Runner theme on the Future Past tour. An exciting intro played on tape to bump the crowd up before the main setlist. And you know what? There's simply no other song in this world that could do this job better than this one. Afterwards, for the first 5 of the 17 songs Iron Maiden plays on this tour, the band has gone through the earliest days of Iron Maiden, going into Wrathchild, continuing with Killers, which, by the way, has not been performed live all the way back since 1999, and after that continuing with the Phantom of the Opera, which is basically the main soundtrack for the Run for Your Lives tour, and closing the earliest days era with the Number of the Beast. The rest part of the main setlist was, in all fairness, rather similar to what I and many other Iron Maiden fans actually predicted for this tour, with Bruce Dickinson rocking a new bird mask during Power Slave, the band playing 2 Minutes to Midnight, The Trooper, Hallowed Be Thy Name, The Clairvoyant, Run to the Hills, which in all fairness would be a huge surprise if they wouldn't play live on this tour.
Yes, that's true.
And a song which tells you exactly what not to do when the bird flies over you and decides to, well, you know. But at the same time, the biggest surprises of the setlist were the songs Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and not because they never played it live, but because I was actually quite sure that they would go with Infinite Dreams, as it was the song which has given the latest Iron Maiden book its title, and was actually teased by the band quite heavily in multiple interviews. Infinite dreams, I can't deny them. And another, in all fairness, rather big surprise was the encore itself, which featured Aces High, Fear of the Dark, and Wasted Years. And it was a surprise not because they didn't play these songs for quite a while, but quite the opposite, specifically because they did play these songs. And I kind of had a feeling that for the encore of this tour, they would go with something else. And I was actually pretty sure they would close with either Running Free or possibly even with Die With Your Boots On. And when it comes to Somewhere in Time, I was actually rather surprised to hear Wasted Years once again, as I was actually pretty sure that the band would use this opportunity to play one of the songs they never played live before. But once again, here I just want to reiterate something that is, I feel, rather important. That I'm not complaining about the setlist whatsoever, but rather simply comparing it to my personal prediction and the predictions of many other Iron Maiden fans who dared to do that before the tour, and simply laugh about how I nailed it in some parts and absolutely failed in some others. And yeah, talking about the songs which they never played live before, I, just like many Iron Maiden fans, actually did expect Be Quick or Be Dead, of course as an introduction of Simon Dawson, and also was pretty sure that all 9 of the first albums would actually be represented on the setlist, including the No Prayer for the Dying record, which pretty much everyone knows is my least favorite Iron Maiden album overall in their entire career. Yet still, for some reason, I actually was pretty sure that they would play at least one song live from it. But nevertheless, the setlist we got is pretty much comprised of the biggest Iron Maiden hits from the first 9 records. And yes, it is true that many of us Iron Maiden fans would love for the band to squeeze in one or two more songs which we all would love to hear live. And honestly, when it comes to massive tours like these, and especially the ones which are targeting the mainstream audiences specifically, I personally can't really think of a track which the band could sacrifice from the setlist to please their diehard fanbase while keeping the same appeal of this tour for the masses. As yes, no matter what, this is actually a setlist of the biggest hits from the first 9 Iron Maiden records. And that's, I guess, the biggest surprise of all on this tour is the production itself. Before the start of this tour, Iron Maiden promised that this will be a show like no other Iron Maiden shows before, and they definitely kept their promise, as Run For Your Lives tour is extremely different from anything Iron Maiden have shown in the past, both in terms of its production and lighting and the stage itself.
It is the greatest Iron Maiden show I have ever seen.
This time around, Iron Maiden decided to not go with the classic backdrops, but decided to switch to an enormous back screen behind them, which I, in all honesty, despite the whole fact that I simply love all the old school stuff, think was simply incredible. And it was a very clever way to showcase the connection between the old songs and the new technology, kind of bridging the gap between the past and the present, underlining the whole fact that these songs, despite being written over 40 years ago, still sound as relevant today in 2025, and most likely will continue doing so for many decades forward. And of course, some of the songs feature simply incredible visuals behind the band, with possibly the most memorable one being the Aces High one, which, by the way, has also given its visuals to one of this tour's pieces of merch, which was the only one hidden on the merch stand before this concert started and was only revealed after its end. As yes, although all the other prints, of course, could give out some hints for the songs Iron Maiden will play on the show, this one wasn't really a hint. It was pretty obvious that it was a clear nod to Aces High. Of course, in addition to all that, we also got a brand new Eddie, who walks up on stage first during the song Killers, and later on returns in a more familiar amplitude in the form of the Trooper Eddie. But the craziest and the most unpredictable thing this time is that for the first time in roughly gazillion years, we don't actually have an inflatable Eddie the Hat during the song Iron Maiden. But instead, we got a digital Eddie, who appears from the screen just as a real one. And I know that all the YouTube videos cannot really give this justice, but pretty much every one of you metal pilgrims who actually has attended this show said that it looked simply incredible live. And although it was a very, very bold move by Iron Maiden, I actually simply cannot wait to hopefully see it with my own eyes, as it does actually look like a start of another yet brand new era in the world of Iron Maiden shows. And the last but definitely not the least of the things that I wanted to address in this video is the overall form of the boys on stage. As the truth is that this was in fact a very, very demanding setlist physically. Yet at least from the videos available online and from everything I've heard from you metal pilgrims who attended these shows, it looks like it was one of the strongest starts of the tour for Iron Maiden in a very long time. And especially for Bruce Dickinson. Because the truth is that I have no idea what he does or what his diet is, but at least to me it is simply mind-blowing that in the last couple of years his voice has actually started sounding stronger than it was a decade or so ago. So yeah, given all that, in my opinion, it is definitely worth it to see Run For Your Lives tour live, and I truly hope that I'll get to witness it myself as well. But nevertheless, these are my main initial observations about the Run For Your Lives tour's kickoff. But I'm already also preparing episodes for you guys on some more nerdy things which I noticed on this tour, including Adrian Smith bringing back the Lato guitars, or the things Bruce Dickinson did or did not say during his famous speeches in between the songs.
And I'm just going to tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So definitely stay tuned for those to be coming very, very soon. But for now, please let us know what you guys personally think about Run for Your Lives tour so far, and have you or how you planning to see this tour live? Please let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you would like to represent the show on the upcoming Run for Your Lives tour, don't forget to check out some Metal Pilgrim merch. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!